Okay, so I just got back from outside. Um, so yeah, you can literally tell that there's an issue with our waste, and we continuously deal with this problem. People need to know that recycling and garbage are two separate things. And one, there's a difference between compost and garbage. Compost is natural products like food or manure. Manure is, you know, and we're going to talk about that in our next topic, but it's a fertilizer and it's supposed to help plants grow, which makes sense. Garbage is not fertilizer. It is waste. It does not necessarily, it's not even necessarily decomposed. Like plastic, it takes even 1,000 years to decompose plastic. Yet I see plastic things everywhere. It's ridiculous. And that, along with the improper treatment in the waste management, like let's say companies like Waste Management, you know, they spend countless hours sorting through this. And they spend 24 hours sorting through this stuff. And it's ridiculous that we can't, as people ourselves, we cannot sort and simply say this is recycling and this is garbage. No, we can't apparently. And it's ridiculous. People, please, please just take care of your garbage. Take care of your recycling because it's hurting the environment. You know how many people are going to have, you have to be grateful that we even have access to half of this stuff. Yet, we really don't care, apparently, because, every time we buy something that other countries can't afford, we have to show it in their face by throwing it on the side of the road. It's ridiculous. People, pick up your garbage, or don't throw any out at all. Good Lord. The final thing to talk about here is manure. Now, I was talking about manure in the last kind of topic, and it's kind of an iffy thing. Because manure and different fertilizers are technically natural. Manure is a natural fertilizer. Comes from animals, leaves from animals, goes into our plants, makes them grow. And, they're washed and everything and all that, and it's fine, we eat them. The issue with manure is when it runs off from the field into our water systems. Now, this is more of a political issue, I find, worldwide even, because so many farmers rely on manure, right? But as people, we have to realize that this manure is going to cause us to pay more for water treatment, along with half of the three other stuff that I said. Manure, I say, is one of the worst because it's just causes so many problems if it runs off. And you have to up the amount of chlorine, which means more money paying for chlorine, and upping the filtration systems. It's ridiculous how much money we actually put into water regulation. And I just asked myself, why are we treating water like it's some foreign chemical that we have to make water? Water is never water anymore. It's either, dangerous or toxic now. Why can't we have clean drinking water without manure? And I understand that farmers need manure to grow crops, which is fine. They need a fertilizer. I understand that. My question is, why can't we use compost? Compost is a thing that we've had access for years. And the issue is farmers think that it's not a good fertilizer. In actuality, if you make a good compost batch with organic plants waste, kind of. Not waste like garbage waste. I mean waste as in like scraps from food. You're able to make a really mean fertilizer. And there's nothing more natural and more, helpful to the environment than recycling the stuff that we don't eat, that are still edible, but we don't need, right? So I say compost is the way to go for when that comes. And I understand that farmers wouldn't necessarily agree with that. However, something like compost, some alternative that is not harmful to the environment and is natural, would be better than having a manure runoff. Now, manure is natural, but it can cause diseases. With compost, it's food. How many diseases can you get from food that is already being cooked or something like that? You can't get very much disease from cooked food. So if you have leftover cooked food or anything, save it for your compost and then put that in your garden if you're making like a small garden. Or for farmers, heck, we can make a huge compost pile and just give it to you for a percentage, and that'd be the end of it. And it's so much cleaner than having manure run off into your water. I'd rather have, like I said, cooked vegetables that have been sitting out in the sun for a while in my water than somebody's feces, right? And I just find that it's ridiculous that we can't do that, and that we can't find those natural alternatives for fertilizers. And so to close this off, I kind of want to leave a ponder with you. As somebody that studies philosophy, I learned a lot about identification. Identity is what makes us us, right? I find that the stuff that we put in our water doesn't make water still. It makes it so much more than that. And if you were to actually write out the chemical compound for the pond water that we have, it would be a whole list of nasty chemicals that we wouldn't be able to even say, really, if you were an average Joe. And so I leave you with this. Is the water that we drink today still water? I mean, sure, we say it's water, and the majority of what we have is water, but we add so many chemicals that I question if it's even water anymore. And so my drinking water, I want to be fresh water, but I want it to be natural water, right? In the song, I didn't touch about that. But, throughout my rant about the activities, I think you could kind of get the hint that I'm a natural person. I like natural kind of products, and I'm, by any means, don't need waste in my life. I rather have, a system that's clean but slow, kind of, than a system that's fast but inefficient, right? And it causes more problems than it actually solves. So that's kind of the note I want to leave off on. Thank you for watching. I know this was a long video. Thank you for holding on to it. See you next time.